You're listening to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay. This is the program called Acupuncture on Air, and it's our pleasure, as always, to have in the studio, in the hot seat, Heiko from the Acupuncture Clinic in Hastings. How you going, Heiko?
I'm really good, Ken, and I heard that you don't like this weather that we're having out there.
Well, it's pouring with rain. It's almost, you can almost swear it was night time. It's so dark out there.
Yeah, I know. Even this morning at 7 o'clock, I drove down to the coffee shop and it was dark.
Yeah, I know. Well, I got up at 5 o'clock. It was even darker.
It was darker,
and it was absolutely thundering down with rain. But never mind, it is winter, and it's going to be, as we record this program, it's going to be 13 degrees tonight. That's not too bad, is it?
Yeah, well, could be better, could be lower.
Anyway, today's topic, before we get to it, it's actually bloating.
Yep.
Everyone's been bloated at some time or another. Just remind our listeners, we want to talk to you about acupuncture or Chinese herbs or cupping or
moxibustion or gua sha.
Yeah, where are you?
I'm at 206 Charles Street, Hastings. My website is acu123.co.nz.
Oh yeah, good on you. And you're famous on YouTube.
Yeah, well, you saw that email. I've got people in America now.
Yeah.
Emailing me for advice.
I know.
Who to see in America?
Does it get any better?
It's funny how the internet does work like that. I have to say it does give you a certain higher reputation or something. People think, oh, he's on YouTube. He must be good.
He must be good. Yeah. Geez, I should move the camera.
Well, I am good, but now I'm better.
Anyway, what is bloating?
Yeah, well, as you know, you've probably experienced. Most people have it. It's people say it's wind, it's gas, whatever. It's building up. It's common. There's many people that have it, and it's one of these symptoms that I usually get it out of people in the questioning, because they might be coming for their headaches or their tennis elbow or whatever, and then I do a case history, run through signs and symptoms, and I go through and ask them, do you get any bloating? And say, oh yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, that's right.
And say, well, it's common, but it shouldn't be normal.
Don't you get it from food? If you eat baked beans or cabbage or that sort of stuff that creates gas inside, isn't that what it is?
Well, there are some foods that definitely will do that.
Yeah.
But I think it's more that the people are sensitive, or they have an imbalance or a weakness in a digestive area, so that they have a little bit of that, and then it causes the problem. Whereas another person sitting next to you will eat 5 tins of baked beans and have nothing.
Something we don't want to hear is that coffee can
well, as I said, coffee can definitely cause bloating, and it can aggravate people who suffer a bit of bloating. There's a number of reasons why, but from the Chinese medicine perspective, we say that coffee, because of its bitter nature, and it's a little bit like acidic, if you like, we say it upsets the stomach yin, which is, we say, is like the fluids of the stomach. And so then the fluids of the stomach get damaged or imbalanced, so that the regulation factor between the yin and the yang in the stomach is upset, and it can give you bloating.
Last week we spoke about the spleen, and the spleen has got something to do with bloating, as does the liver.
Yep, and as well as the stomach. The spleen, in terms of Chinese medicine, is often paired up, well, not as often, it is paired up with the stomach. We say one is the yang and one is the yin component. And in simplified terms, how the two organs work with each other is that we say the stomach takes in the food, it takes in the water and all the nutrients, but then the spleen, we say, processes and digests. It's the manufacturing house, it's the furnace that then cooks everything, and then we say it then sends the energy that's made out of the processing of all the food to the body where it needs it. And one of the things that it needs to send the energy to the 4 limbs. So your 4 limbs are strong and warm. It makes the energy, it makes the blood. And now if that spleen energy is weak in some way, then that digestion process becomes affected, and one of the common symptoms is bloating.
Yes. Okay, what about how do we get on top of that? Just change our diet?
Yeah, look, there are certain guidelines that we can have with Chinese medicine to benefit the stomach and the spleen. We say that the stomach and spleen is the earth school. It's the center, it's the foundation, it's the root of everything. So that when we eat our food, right, that's sort of like the core nucleus to get the body going. Now, simple guideline is foods need to be warm, they need to be cooked. As a general rule, they need to be bland, so not too spicy, not too bitter, not too cold, not too anything. It's okay to have a little bit of everything, but as a general rule, they need to be this warm, sort of cooked, nourishing type of food. So it's easy to assimilate, it's easy to digest, and then it makes it easy to transport the nutrients around.
A lot of people out there listening to this who might be, say, of a vegan nature.
Yeah, I know. And
eating raw food.
And unfortunately, you'll get all the phone calls tomorrow. But I said these patients all will make very good patients for acupuncturists in the future, because particularly the raw food cold diet. Chinese medicine is simply said it damages the stomach and the spleen. The argument always is that a raw carrot has more vitamin A in it, and then when you cook it, it damages it, and this and that. But people have been cooking food for 2,000, 3,000 years. That's why they were smart enough to develop fire.
Yes.
To bring themselves above the animal species. So that it's the warmth and the easiness of the digestion process of it. And so when you have too much cold sauce, salads, fruit juices, it's actually inhibiting the digestive capacity of the stomach and spleen, weakening it, making it cold. And these people often they end up being cold, they're pale, they're thin, get nervous and stressed. There's a whole bunch of spleen and bloating and loose stools. But unfortunately, if you talk to them, they'll say those symptoms are because your body's detoxing. It's detoxing. I said, no, you're not detoxing. You're getting sicker and sicker. But yeah.
Steak, egg and chips, that's what does it for me. I love it.
Which ones?
Steak, eggs and chips.
Steak, eggs and chips.
Every night would be great, wouldn't it?
Well, not every night, but Saturday night might be all right.
Tell us about the liver though.
Yeah, the liver in terms of bloating, it's to do more with the emotional aspect of it. The liver is a very vulnerable organ to irritability, impatience, anger, frustration, hatred, bitterness, which makes the liver energy get stuck. And then you probably think, well, that's everyone on the planet.
Yeah, dead right it is.
You just get in the car and it starts. And that is the reality of it, is that the liver is very easily affected by the modern day stresses of mankind, and irritability and frustration was around 2,000 years ago as well, if not more than now.
When you got into chariot.
That's right, yeah, and then your horse wouldn't go,
Okay, so I mean, if it's as simple as that, if we want to make our liver stronger,
so
we don't have
5 hours of meditation a day.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Because it's easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how do you do that? How do you get your head around that?
Well, again, it's like, this is why when patients come to me and ask, "Oh, what else should I be eating, or what can I be taking?" I say, "Look, I can recommend things there, but the big thing I can recommend is to do something to repair and fix up the stresses." And I sort of say, like, an hour a day is what you want to try to be doing. It's 20 minutes to fix up the stresses you've had from today, and 20 minutes to fix up the stresses that you had from yesterday, and 20 minutes to prepare you for the stresses you're going to get tomorrow. Right? And so and that might be meditation, it might be yoga, it might be qigong, tai chi, Pilates, walking the dog in the park. Exactly. and like with you, it's running around the block. Right. And then if you can do something like that, it's going to help a lot. And how many times, just from your own experience, have you felt annoyed and irritated about someone or something? You've had your run, you've come back, the problem is still there, but you're feeling better.
I tell you what, a bit of exercise, regardless of what sort of exercise you do, and like you say, it could just be a walk around the block. Yeah. It just does a whole lot of great things for you.
Yeah. And that, we say, it moves the liver, gets the liver energy going. And we say that if the liver energy gets stuck, and we say it attacks sideways, and your liver's over here, which you can see on the tube, so it's from your right, and then it attacks sideways to your sort of digestive capacity, that earth element, the stomach and the spleen, overrides that, blocks it up, causes bloating.
Very good. So if we want to come and see you about some bloating or anything else associated with our body or our mind, in fact.
Yeah, yep, even your mind, and then because it works two ways. Because like if you can get your liver stronger with acupuncture and herbs and possibly meditation or whatever, then you have an ability to deal with the stresses. The stresses don't get on top of you.
Exactly.
So come for our acupuncture for 3 times a week for the rest of your life.
That's right.
No, I'm 206 Charles Street, and it's my website acu123.co.nz.
Or we can find you on iTunes.
On iTunes, on YouTube,
and on
my website.
That's right. You're everywhere.
And then you can go to Twitter. There's endless things.
And your song?
And my song here to finish the show, and obviously I know that you've heard of the band Blind Faith, and then I've picked the song that you probably like the least from the album, and it's called Do What You Want.
It's a drumming solo, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's got a bit of guitar and singing and stuff before and afterwards.
Tell you what, I'm glad you chose that, because who wouldn't have heard of Blind Faith?
That's right.
Particularly if you're our age. Yeah. But what did surprise me is that they got together in 1969. Yeah. And they finished in 1969. Yeah. They only made one album, and they had one tour. Yeah. And that was it. And
I had a quick look, and I think that album Blind Faith, there was, I think, 7 songs. They were the only 7 songs they recorded.
And just in case you weren't aware of it, Blind Faith was Steve Winwood, Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, and Rick Gretsch. Yeah. Pretty famous musicians in there.
Now, what happened to Rick Gretsch in the end? I don't know much.
I don't know. I wouldn't have. No, you made me. I'm going to have to go and look.
Yeah, that's a research for you. It's going to be an exam next week.
Right. Good on you, Heiko. As always, a pleasure. Look after yourself. We'll talk to the same time, same place next week.
Good to see you.